there you are, dear viewers. Come, sit. I was just putting the finishing touches on a short story I plan on publishing soon. Well, maybe it could use a few more adjustments. There, okay. Maybe just one more thing.
Okay, no. You gotta do your video.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Neverland Book Club. As fun as last week's vlog was to film and make for you good people, I'm glad to be back on my little reading couch, under the hot lights and full makeup, sweating my tush off. It's a new month, and you know what that means. An overly optimistic / probably unrealistic list of books I will maybe, perhaps, hopefully read without What? What's this? How could you be doing another one of these TBR videos when you haven't even finished your July list? You just started reading random titles instead of what you said you were going to read. You lying, curly-haired clown woman, stop filming and start reading. Jeez. Well, you have a point, tough love me. Yes, I did take a little bit of an unexpected turn this month in the books I did end up reading, but as I always say, a finished book is a finished book.
Have you ever said that?
All the time. And I finished 3, almost 4 books this month. Did I also start rereading Addie LaRue during a particularly difficult week as a form of reading security blanket? Well, maybe. But that is beside the point. In addition to the titles I'm about to share with you, dear viewers, I have also been hard at work preparing for the celebrations of this month.
What are the celebrations?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, August marks our 6-month anniversary together here on YouTube, and that subscriber count couldn't make me happier. Fastly approaching 1,000 subscribers, I've been hard at work designing merch, creating a Patreon, and setting up a P.O. box.
I did it, Mom. I'm a booktuber.
And as a booktuber, I would like to hear what you, my audience, has to say. Are you active on Patreon? What kind of merch would you be interested in seeing? Is there a specific book accessory that you love but can't really find a good quality of? All ideas and suggestions are welcome in the comments down below. And please believe you will be the first to know as soon as everything and anything goes live. Alright, let's start with July's wrap-up titles. First, Gathering Shadows, my Best from the North's debut novel. You're thrown into the action right from the start. The story does not slow from beginning to end. A perfectly bingeable read filled with witches, warlocks, all-powerful goddesses, and twists around every corner. Like, really. I'm very proud of you, bestie, and cannot wait to read book 2 of the Witches of Moravia series, Releasing Shadows. As well as your new project you've already shared with me and I am so very intrigued by, The Cursed Heart. Yes, that's the title. I'm sold already. As you can tell, I had fun. Next, From Blood and Ash. You may have seen from my first reading vlog last week, this was absolutely not my favorite book to read. And I was fighting with myself the entire time, going back and forth between putting it down and picking it up. Truth be told, the only reason I continued was because I was promised proper smut! And I was incredibly disappointed. If you think this is smut, honey. Is it me? Am I too dirty? Because this was not nearly enough. This was heavy petting at best. The vampires, the werewolves, the one and only chosen girl destined to save everyone. I didn't like it. And I'm a vampire kid. I should have been the target audience. I suppose my taste has matured. What?
Now say tax evasion.
What?
Now say tax evasion.
Tax evasions. What? And I've developed a taste for smooth jazz. Onward to another title that wasn't my favorite, but was definitely not as much of a disappointment after audibly turning the last page. The Witch's Heart. The narration for this one really sold me on the entire experience. The Witch's Heart is Genevieve Gornichek's debut novel. Now, you may have seen the new Loki series on Disney+, and it could be safe to say that the Loki we come to know in this novel is perhaps a variant of the Loki we know from the Marvel Universe. Actually, this Loki is more so the original Loki of the Norse mythology kind. He is not only the god of mischief, but a shapeshifter who uses his powers not simply to project himself in his own image, but to perhaps, oh, I don't know, turn into a female horse and birth an 8-legged baby horse. Just to know what it feels like, maybe. Who knew Loki was a horse girl? An equestrian? A loquestrian? Loki. Yeah. Did I read that part wrong, or did that actually happen? Anywho, this book did take a few chapters to begin to pique my interest. And when I say a few chapters, I mean basically the entire first half of the book. It wasn't boring exactly, it was just not what I had expected at all. An unkillable and all-powerful ancient witch, Angrboda, is banished from Asgard and finds Loki in a forest, who is in possession of her heart. Literally, and then eventually figuratively. They fall in love and basically play house for the first half of the book. The beginning seemed promising, but then they kind of just fell into a mundane existence where they had interesting children and a life on the prairie sort of narrative. It kept hinting to something looming on the horizon, but it just felt like the characters could have been swapped out for anyone else other than Angrboda and Loki, and it would have been kind of the same. For those chapters at least. Then it gets good, so yes, it's still worth reading. Next we have Kafka on the Shore. Now, I did start reading this at the end of my vlogging week, and I did mention it then, but
My oh my, am I enjoying it now?
I'm more than halfway through, kind of, as of filming this video, and I must say, Murakami has a way of making me feel okay. His stories aren't even relatable to me personally on any level, but they paint a picture so surreal, it's difficult to feel anything but peace. I'm still not entirely sure what the story is about, and that doesn't bother me in the least. That was a couplet. I'm speaking in rhyme. The characters and their little adventures are so whole and pure, it feels like reading, you know? I don't want to spoil anything, and I do plan on dedicating a full video on this little title, but I will say, out of all of the Marvel superpowers and special abilities the heroes possess in those movies, I would love to have Nakata's ability to speak to cats. I'm more of a dog person myself, but cats are an entirely different entity of sophistication and elegance that you just don't see from other animals. I feel like they would all speak in accents and with condescending tones that would cast aspersions on anyone who dared to converse. But that's all part of their charm, because as much as they think we're idiots, they're probably right. Alright, that wraps up my finished reads for last month. Did I get to the Shades of Magic series as I had intended? No. They're quite dusty. Do I still plan to? Absolutely! The trilogy has been sitting patiently by my bedside, waiting for its turn to enter my mind palace and hallucinate me into a comfortable and controlled mushroom trip. Stay in school, kids. Books are better than drugs. Trust me. Drugs. You may be thinking,
Nadia, but Nadia, wait. You just said you have a trilogy to read. You mean to say you have more titles you plan to add for August?
and to that I say, what's wrong with your voice?
Maybe.
I can't help it. I have an irrevocable longing for plot, an insatiable need for story that cannot be satisfied. I'm telling you.
It's a drug.
Speaking of drugs, chess! Ah, the drug of the game. Chess is an art form of strategy, an elegant war of the minds that can be incredibly fun and maddeningly frustrating. The Queen's Gambit, written by Walter Tevis in 1983, tells the story of a young woman mastering a male-dominated practice. Written by a man, but still, it's a good story. The Netflix adaptation was released in October of last year, so yes, I am aware that I'm late to the game. Pun intended. But hey, better late than never. Like most of my life choices, this book came as a recommendation by my mother. I intend to read the book and watch the series and play even more than before. Pablo and my father are chess buddies, so maybe I'll jump in one of these days. It's intimidating. Perhaps in a vlog, we shall see. Next up, we have a little title that piqued my interest due to its free price tag on Audible. The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. You know, Neil Gaiman. And again, yes, I know I am a bit late to the party with this one as well, but I guess I was just waiting for Audible to give me a good deal. It ends in October, by the way. The deal. The good deal. The Sandman is the greatest epic in the history of comic books, according to the Los Angeles Times Magazine. I was also sold by the cast of voices for this audiobook in particular, including Professor X. And lastly on my list and on brand with this month's theme of late to the party and best something ever written, Dune by Frank Herbert. Where The Sandman is the greatest epic in the history of comic books, Dune is considered the best-selling science fiction novel in history, winning acclaimed awards such as the Nebula Award for Best Novel and the Hugo Award in 1966. After hearing about this little legend everywhere in the book world and receiving recommendations even here on this channel, I then saw a little trailer with big names like Jason Momoa and Zendaya, two completely different people I am equally attracted to. Timothée Chalamet is in it as well, but Jason Momoa, Daya? After receiving all of these signs from my universe that it was time to dive into this new universe, I turned to my bestie from the north for advice on how to start, and sure enough, another sign arose. My dear Chelsea already owns a hard copy and has been waiting to begin reading. We shall be buddy reading this title together this month, and if any of you dear viewers would like to join us, the more the merrier. Be sure to follow us both on Instagram for discussions and overall fun bookie times. Well, there you have it. As we all know here on BookTube, your to-be-read list is more of a list of good intentions that may not always go according to plan. As with life, our stacks of unread books are reflections of the people we wish to be. They do not judge us in our sleep, but are a source of comfort and constant inspiration to become better versions of ourselves, to become more well-read, more educated, more worldly. For books are doors, windows, portals into so many diverse worlds. And whether your TBR is one book or hundreds of books long as you start, stop making philosophical excuses and go read. Anybody hear that? Well, that's all I have for you today, dear viewers. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video if you liked it and subscribe for more. And don't forget to comment down below your August TBR, because you already know I crave the attention. Interaction. The interaction. Today's shout out goes to Krasavish. I'm very sorry if that is your name, and I'm butchering it. Thank you for your subscription and for mentioning cake! You know how much I do love cake. Even when it's disappointing, it's still king. I mean cake. Alright, I'm off to go set up a Patreon without taking my clothes off. My mom is watching. Hi, Mama. Stay lost, keep reading. Stop making philosophical excuses. Goodbye!
I don't feel well.